5 minutes of the day that we find short-term or long-term goals usually virtually do not exist with them. They don't have the dreams of Disney. That's something you watch on TV. Pigeon Forge is a place where Dolly's from, and everybody loves Dolly, but that's not some place they'll get to go. That's not in their wheelhouse of things they get to do. So Bottoms Up started for 20-some years. I have always had this, what I called a dream. If we ever won the lottery, if Uncle Jim left us, $5 million, we don't buy lottery tickets and we don't have an Uncle Jim, so that was never going to be a reality. But we would spend money on trips. Like if we were driving to see my family, it's a 14-hour drive. We would spend fake money. We would buy mansions and yachts, and we'd be on vacations, and we would do this and that. And I always come back to, I said, I want to open something where single mothers can live. And this is so ironic. I always said, like Grandview, if you're familiar with Grandview Medical Center, Park Ridge West, at the end of Highway 28, I said it looks like that. Someplace where they can live, get a college education, cooking classes, Bible classes, parenting classes, money management, everything they need to turn them into a successful person on the other side of the program that A, doesn't have to rely on moving somebody in with them to pay bills. Because we have to face it, I'm a married woman with a husband and a good income, we struggle. So if two people struggle nowadays, you can imagine it's too loud. You can't hear me? Oh, I've never heard that in my life. Is that better? I feel like I'm screaming up here. So it's hard being from a one-parent income. The goal is to get them their education where they can take care of their children on their own. They're not just moving people in to pay bills and survive. So, and we're doing that through education. We've got 3 that are enrolled in college. They're going to be enrolled by the fall. We'll have 3 of them in there. And we set short-term, long-term goals with them, and education is in there. To go back to this being my dream, I always said my vision was to have a place where they could live, where we could have them all on one schedule. They could all take these classes together and not have to worry about where am I going to pay my electric bill? How am I going to find somewhere to live? What am I going to eat for supper? They would all be in one home. Well, I was on a mission trip, and our plans fell through. We didn't get to go to where we were supposed to. We got to go to where God wanted me to be. And what I saw was basically the program that I had had in my head for 20 years right in front of me. The only difference was it wasn't for single mothers. It was for children that couldn't go past the 8th grade of school. The programs, just about everything, it was so surreal. And I've never in my life had the Lord speak to me the way he did when I come back from that trip. He was just so profound with everything that needed to be done. And my husband had encouraged me over the years, saying, well, honey, do it. And I said, write me a check. I'm ready. I'll do it. It takes money. How can you go from nothing, we don't have money to spend like that, to opening up a foundation where you can help all these single mothers? And I said, you know what, Lord, you're putting this on my heart. This isn't a dream. This is a calling. So if you're calling me to it, then you're going to bring me through it. And Pam, who I did not really know, just kept coming to me. I'd pray and she would come to me. And I asked her one day, I said, will you go have coffee with me? And I kind of pitched this idea to her, and I said, I don't know what your part is. You may just be someone that's going to pray for me. I don't know, but I just know I can't, every time I pray, you are the person that comes to mind. And that's because God knew I needed Pam Hurst for Palms Up. She's our children's director. This woman, I cannot say enough about her, and I'll get to our other volunteers, that just pour into these kids and love them unconditionally and teaching them the Bible and the songs and the sayings and little things that we take for granted. We'll see children out and about, and it's like, well, they don't know how to behave. They don't know how to sit. Well, no, they don't. They weren't raised by you. A lot of them were just being kept alive. They're being survived because mom's too busy working, paying bills, and going to bed exhausted. So we get to do the little things, and in the class, she gets to do them little things that teaches them about Jesus, teaches them how to sit still in a chair, teaches them how to treat each other, how to respect themselves, how to have boundaries. And she's just been the biggest blessing, not to mention the 784 million things that I give her on a daily basis, that she just picks up the pieces and ties all the ends together. So I started this program. She said, yeah, I want to be a part of this. So we started out in Jasper. There was another ministry at the time that said, well, you can use our building on Mondays. So we started having some classes. We had some women that were interested. We started having classes. And that didn't last very long. We had to be put on a calendar and make sure we had approval to be there. And then we found another building. So I said, well, this is door 2. I don't know how many doors we need to go through, but we're on door 2. And that was a wonderful office in Jasper, but it was a business. And we're worried about keeping kids quiet. You know, we don't want them being too loud. And she's trying to teach them songs. And the man was real gentle. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it, but you still get nervous. So we were praying and we were praying. And I know there's a lady that has Nurture the Next up on the 4th floor at Grandview Medical Plaza. And I said, well, how'd you get in here? How do you get in? And she gave me the realtor's name, and we sent her a message, and Pam went with me. Did you? Pam went with me, and we looked at a couple office spaces, and it was so big compared to where we came from. We had one little room for the kids and another little, like a small conference room for the moms, and this was so much bigger. It was like just this big area, and we thought, oh, we can put the kids here, and we can have cooking classes there, and we just saw this vision and got so excited because we could breathe when we were in a room. And we told her we needed it to be an in-kind gift. You know, we're raising money, we're doing our best, but we don't have money to pay to get a suite up there. So she took it to her people, and she come back and she says, well, I'm sorry, they're just not interested. And I thought, Lord, you know, and we're so disappointed. And I said, you know what, it's no for now. This is not no forever, it's no for now. And he's got something better. If he's saying no to this, we all know he's going to give us something a whole lot better. And a couple months went by, and my husband and grandbaby and I were up at Pigeon Forge at the island on a Saturday. And I got a text message. And I started reading it, and I was like, and the tears just started coming. He's like, what? I think he thought somebody died. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I just can't believe it. I got a text that says we are ready to proceed with the in-kind gift of your office space up at Park Ridge West. And that's God. I've got goosebumps standing here. That is the Lord providing. He knew he wanted us there. And we had been there about a month or so, and one of our volunteers said, you know, Kathy, you've talked for over a year now. Every time you talk or you speak to people, you kept saying, you know, I see like Grandview, I see Grandview, I see Grandview, and here we are standing inside Grandview. And I had never thought about it to that point, and I thought, you know, that's another part of that vision that he's given me. That wasn't by accident. That wasn't me dreaming that up. That was the Lord saying, I'm going to put you here. So we have been there. It'll be a year in October. Another blessing, they just called us maybe 2-3 weeks ago and are trying to get us in contact with a woman at Park Ridge East, because a lot of our Marion County moms go over there for child care and for prenatal, and she wants to be able to start that relationship with us. And she said, by the way, they renewed your lease. I thought, well, we didn't even ask them to renew the lease. God knew. You know, we just prayed, if you want to keep us here, okay, but we want our forever home. We want a 5 or 6 bedroom home. We've got plans for a big barn dominium eventually, but we are looking for some place to put 5 or 6 of our mothers where they can live. Like I said, they will go to college. We have a little dog treat business that we started. We make all natural dog treats, and we've been going to the festivals, Valley Fest and Casa Rodeo and Dunlap and Jasper and everywhere. And we take a certain percentage of that money and we split it up against the moms that come. They get a check mark for every class they attend and every dog treat session, and that gives them a little extra money. But we would like to grow that business into one day that it would be enough to be able to give them the money they need to supplement a job. But without that house, we're having classes. On Mondays, we do our dog treats, and Tuesdays, we have a health coach, life health coach, that we Zoom with, and sometimes she'll come in. She's from Chattanooga. And she does things like a little bit of budgeting. We do a little budgeting on our own. She does gratification, gratitudes, attitudes, gratitudes, teaches us where drama in the life comes from, where to recognize it, where to walk away from it. A big portion of the class is boundaries. A lot of our moms don't know they can have boundaries that need to be respected. You know, they can still have relationships with family that have not been healthy for them. A lot of them hear things like, you made your bed, lie in it, and there's a degree in truth in that, but you can throw somebody who doesn't know how to swim into a deep end of pool and say, learn to swim. They're not going to until you teach them. They have to be taught how to handle a lot of the things that come their way before they know how to respond, let alone respond in a Christian way. So we have a lot of different things that we do on Tuesdays, different classes that we teach. Our Bible study is a main focus because, face it, God is at the center of the program. Where he's brought us from, where he's bringing us to, and where he's seeing us to has been nothing but godly the whole entire time. And our goal for them is to see that in themselves. We have a lot of moms that just don't have the self-esteem. They just want to survive. They want more in life and want to do something to get it, but they just don't know how. Some of the things we've done is we taught at tax time, you get a good amount of money back. Most moms do. I mean, there's people always say, well, they get all the money back, and you're right, to a degree they do. And a lot of them just blow it. And you're right, they do that too, because they don't know how. They go from having nothing, trying to put enough gas in the car to get the kids to school, to all of a sudden having a few $1,000s. I want. That's the immediate thought is, this money's not going to last. I want new cowboy boots. I want this. I want that. And it's gone. And then they're back in the comfort zone of being broke and just getting by day. And the things we're trying to teach them is, buy your 4 tires. When you get your taxes, go put 4 tires on your car, put windshield wipers on your car, and change your oil. Immediately get you a gift card so you can change your oil again in 6 months. Christmas is coming, school's coming, go to Walmart. Get you 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever you get. If you get $3,000 back, take $1,500 of that and buy you gift cards. Get your Walmart gift card, because Christmas is coming and you're not going to want somebody got to help me. I don't know what to do. No, you've prepared for this. That not only helps them become independent, it helps with the self-esteem, saying, wait a minute, I did this. School supplies. Get you a $25 card at the Dollar Tree. You can get pens, paper, pencils, notebooks, whatever. Do what you need to do. Get you some gift cards to Cracker Barrel. What do we got for restaurants? McDonald's, wherever. So when you're tired that night and you don't want to cook and you don't have no money, wait a minute, I got them gift cards. Give yourself a break. You're entitled to it. We all are. Pull that gift card out. You have pre-planned. You are taking care of an obstacle before it ever hits you. So the money management portion is imperative, where they can learn little things. If you go to a restaurant, you want to spend, or even a convenience store, $2.89, $3 for a 20-ounce drink. Go to Walmart for 99 cents, you get the whole 2-liter. Just little ways, some coupon apps that you can save money there. Saving money when you go out. If you have to go through, get a water. Little things that can keep the money in the pocket and stretch that dollar a little further and help, like I said, the self-esteem and get them further, closer to their goals. We have one mama who started in our program, I want to say it's been going on a year. She was homeless, had a little over a year-old baby living in her car. She had been staying with some friends, and the landlord, you know how that goes, the landlord found out somebody's staying there, they have nowhere to stay. She went from that to now today she's in her very own tiny home on some property, has her daughter with her, she's 2 years old now, but went from being in a car and nowhere to live to having her like a tiny home that she has remodeled and turned into a home for her and her daughter. And has plans to buy property right where she's at, where she can start building like a small 2-bedroom home. So she's one of our biggest success stories, and I mean, we're proud of her. She's very faithful to the program. She's got a giving heart, is willing to learn everything she can. The support system is something that a lot of our moms talk about being one of the main factors of them being so loyal to the program. They know there's people they can count on that understand the situation they're in. They've learned to rely on each other for childcare. If you work first shift and you work second, swap kids. Neither one of you's paying a babysitter. You know, there's little things you can do to help out. Maybe you're not bringing everything in monetary, but you can kind of control what you're spending, what you're putting out. We've helped. I wanted to give a little stats. We have had, if you go to www.palmsupfoundation.org, there's a survey on there they can fill out asking for medical help, classes, education, housing, food assistance, there's all that. And we've had over 30 some odd women that have filled that out. A portion of them, when we reply to them, just want to walk through the door and get something and leave. Our counties are wonderful for supplying needs that moms, you know, for some of the needs they have, but we've turned into a, here, take this, see you next year, come back, or take this and in 6 months reapply, and they just get stuff and leave, and there's no more, you know, there's no accountability to it. We're not like that. We don't deal with drugs. That's one thing I never felt. I did pray a lot over that, and I just never felt comfortable with allowing, and it would be a board decision on an individual basis, but there would have to be a long recovery period in there. I've never felt comfortable asking a single mother to put her child in the same area with other mothers that would be interacting with them that have a very short history of recovery. So we do keep them two areas separate. But I forgot what I was saying. Lost my place. Have you ever done that? Have you? Well, it's embarrassing. But the moms that come in, like I said, a lot of them just want to know, what can you give me? They're not palms up material. We still help them. We will provide any resource we have for housing, food, medical, resources in the community. We do share all that. Palms up is a hand up. It's not come get what we have at our disposal and leave and never see you again. It's a long-term program, over a little over 2 years at the minimum, because like I said, it's going to take that long to get a degree, and it takes that long to change your way of thinking. I know a lot about being a single mother because I was one for about 12 years. And I know the struggle. I know what it's like. I know where your thought process is. And I know I sat there many a times going, how am I going to get coats on my kids? How am I going to do this? You know, and I'm a worker. I work, but sometimes by the time you pay rent and money, it just only goes so far. So with having this program, there's light at the end of the tunnel for them. They hear and see things in other mothers that are inspiring. And I told you I wanted to talk about Stacy a little bit, so you may recognize her. And if I don't wind up crying, she will. I promise you, one of us will. This is her and her daughter, Serenity. I've known Stacy 20 some odd years. She used to babysit my children when they were little, and we went to church together for a lot of years. Stacy, her support system was her mother, but mainly her grandparents. And within a span of 2 weeks, she was student teaching in college. Her grandmother had bilateral pneumonia, was not doing well. Her grandfather was diagnosed with lung cancer. Within a short time span, her grandmother passed away. Her grandfather, 2 weeks later, and in the same time span as that, her mother, which we were talking on the way here, it was 2018, 2019, could have been COVID, nobody knows, but she was in a coma month and a half. All this while she's student teaching. And if you know anything about student teaching, you can't miss a day. You have to get through it. And between her family and the church and God, pulled her through it with honors, and you're on what, year 6? 7? This will be your 7th school year. She's a single mother. She worked hard. She knows the obstacles. She understands what it's like to feel defeated. She understands to feel like you have nobody but God to get you through, and come back to our program. Well, she didn't come back. She come volunteer. She wasn't part of it. But what an inspiration to see somebody who's teaching and paying their bills and driving a decent car and has a love for the Lord in their heart and has made it through. It's such an inspiration to our moms to say, hey, she's done this. I can do it. So I came. I remember, you get in the restaurant and what do you want to eat? You look at the right-hand side. What's $4 and under? And this is 20-some years ago. You could get something for $4, but you don't have the money. Everything's from the right to the left. What kind of water? We don't get a drink, we get water. And so we understand. We know what they're struggling with. We know how hard it is on them, but we believe in them. We can see we've got some that are going to take what you can give them. We've got some that we have what we call a lender program. If they need tires, one had a hard time paying her electric bill. Depending on their longevity in the program, we will loan them money, but they have to pay it back. It's not a handout. We try to establish them with a bank if and when possible to try to get their credit built and do it that way. And one woman, the one that is doing her own little tiny home, she said, you've allowed me to keep my dignity. She said, I don't feel like a charity case here. Everywhere I go, when I have to ask for help, they look at me. There's another one. There's another one. She don't want to work. She don't this. She works every single day. She's very thrifty with her money, but things happen. Tires happen. Extra insurance happens. A doctor bill happens. Food shortage. It all happens. And she said, you allowed me to get my car fixed, and I was able to pay it back at my pace and keep my dignity. I did that. I was able to do that. And that means so much. If you've never struggled, I guess it's hard to understand that. But if you ever had a time in your life when you needed something, and college kids, I know it's the same way, ramen noodles and late nights. But if you've ever had to struggle, you can sympathize and understand why it's so important to still have your dignity and be able to take care of the things that arise. Stacy, I can't say enough about Stacy. She works with our mom. She works with our kids. She's made us a little slideshow. I'm going to get to be in charge of the clicker here in a minute. Yeah, there's one button. I've got it. It's the big middle button. And she saves me. All the time, she saves me. She's my form person. She's the one I'm like, well, it has to have this on it, and you need that. And she'll come up with what needs to be done. And she keeps up with my scatterbrain, her and Pam. But, our moms, the one thing that they've had constant in their life is people give up on them and people say negative things to them. And I remember back when I was young, if people would have given up on me, I'm not so sure where I would have been today. If there was people in my life that kept pouring the love of the Lord into me and telling me he has a plan for me, he loves you, I felt unlovable. Some of our mothers feel unlovable. And there was just people in my life that just kept saying, he wants you, he needs you, he wants a relationship, he has plans for you. And he provided me with a wonderful husband. Everything's God's timing. And as you know, when you surrender your life and your own will, he'll provide you what you need. And I just had to quit putting my agenda before his to get what he wanted, what was best for me. I talked about Grandview, and I tell you what a perfect place. I was telling Brian that most of the floors are empty on there. So if you have any connections to anybody at Grandview Medical Plaza, that would be a wonderful place for our moms to live. Each one in their own little, we can put 2 or 3 of them in all them offices and solve the problem of not having nowhere to live, solve the problem of trying to get them all to class on the same day at the same time without any obstacles holding them back, and the problem of the electric bill, and take all these obstacles that are in their way and the things they have to worry about, put it to the side so they have childcare, they have the classes, they have their income, and can just focus on what's important, and that's building the relationship with the Lord and becoming who it is He wants them to be. Breaking generational cycles. We've got one mama, and she said, I would come home and my mother would have somebody living with us. I'd come home from school and there'd be somebody on my couch. And she said they'd be there 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And within a week, I was on the couch and they were in my bed. And she'd have to go to school, you know, while everybody, the adults, are still staying up and everything. And she said, I don't want my son to grow up that way. I want to be better than that. I want to be different. And that's what we want at Palms Up. We want the moms who recognize that they have potential, who work hard, who want something different, and who are willing to work for it. Because it does take hard work. You know, it's not just something that's handed to them, it's something they have to earn and work for. And like I said, that generational, it's such a hard thing because it's all they know. It's what they grew up with. They don't know any other way if we don't show them another way. I did want to mention some needs that we have. We need volunteers always. We do like gas cards, so we can give our moms, they get so many classes. If they make 5 classes, we give them a $10 gas card. It's not much incentive, but it does help them out a little bit. We have a list of things that we were blessed that South Pittsburgh has Arts in the Burg, and Mandy, the woman in charge of it, invited our mothers down for a very, very low minimal cost where they could do paint to relax. And it was amazing, you know, to just watch them sit there and pick a couple different pictures or something that they could paint and just see the stress. You know, as they're painting, 15, 20 minutes into it, you could just see them relax and enjoy it. We've been donated pretty much a 25-passenger bus. We don't know what we're doing with that. God's still trying to figure that part out for us. But we would like to be able to go to the Cumberland County Playhouse. You know, have somebody donate tickets and say they take them to see a play, things they don't do, they don't experience. A lot of them never been to Chattanooga. There's just, you know, there's nothing for me in Chattanooga. Well, Chattanooga offers a lot. You know, we have a culture, even in our own town, but we've got a culture surrounding us in this valley of beautiful things to experience for the moms and the kids. But it takes money, obviously, to, you know, take them and do things like that. Some have never sat down in an Olive Garden. Well, that's a fancy restaurant. Maybe, if you've never been. But there's just things that they don't experience because they either lack the money, the knowledge, or the transportation to go and experience those things. So I don't have much more. I know when I go home I will think about 40 other things. I'd like to do some slides and explain some of the things that we did. Will that show up behind me if I click? Stacy. Oh, but see, there's the pictures are worth 1,000 words. We were invited to cook the cornbread for the National Cornbread Festival. They invited the Palms Up Mamas and our volunteers. We made the cornbread in the kitchen at South Pittsburgh Elementary. And there's another odd thing. People get on that list for years trying to get in to do that. They called us and invited us. And you do get a little money for doing it. So, I mean, it was a wonderful donation and an opportunity for our moms to give back and, you know, say thank you to the community for the things we're doing. And there's Miss Pam doing what Miss Pam does best, selling them dog treats. See, y'all got pets? You need to go to our email and order some dog treats. They are all natural. They are good. And those are things of moms. We let the kids get involved a little bit. Some of the containers, we take donations, and we bought some little treat bags and boxes that we can decorate and paint and color and, you know, let the moms and kids do it and put the treats in it. And that helps out. This is one of the painting classes. This is some of our moms. And when they invited us down, they gave us a couple templates that they could paint. And it was a good size painting, and it was just so nice to see them relax, not have to worry about the kids, and just enjoy doing a craft. This was Christmas. This is up at Grandview. This is some more of our mothers. And we were so blessed at Christmas time. People were calling up going, do you have any mamas that need that we can supply Christmas for? And I said, no, we don't. But you don't have nobody? I said, we have mamas, but none that need Christmas supplied. Some can use some help, but we do not want to supply. We want to be helpful, but we don't want to just supply everything. We want to give them the opportunity to be in charge of that. This is two old women who refuse to let that 9,000-pound table get the best of them. It was heavy, it was bulky, and there was 2 wheelchairs. So what do? You put it on the wheelchairs and you get it up to the 3rd floor the best way you know how. Oh yeah. More cornbread pitchers, more volunteers. This is another thing we did. Walmart has been one of our biggest supporters with giving us a lot of things after season. And we had a Valentine's. Our moms all made crafts and baskets and things, and we went around to the local banks and online, and we sold them. And then, of course, they would get, the money for the crafts. That's 2 of our volunteers. Without them, we wouldn't have been able to do that often. These are some of the kids. Miss Pam, bless her heart, I don't think she gets the break she needs half the time. But she watched the children at the Cornbread Festival so the mothers could be in the kitchen. She took the kids around and did the crafts and all the fun stuff with the kids. There's another one of our volunteers. There's some of our kids. That's part of our class in there. That's a map of the United States. They get to learn the states. But I wish I had one of the wall because Miss Pam put a bunch of handprints up there. And I'm going to paraphrase, but it's inside these walls lies the future of our nation. And it's so true. These little kids that are learning to sit, we pray before the meal, and it's so precious when they're starting to. When they start praying, it just melts your heart. And they're singing songs. They're going to be in the Labor Day parade in Whitwell. Come watch. We're going to have that crazy train and put the kids in there, and they're working on a couple special songs and some movement to do in the parade. More Christmas. Oh, I'm doing this the wrong way. This is one of our June Jam, right? We've done it twice now. We've had a June Jam dinner, and these are some of the winners of the baskets that we made the door prizes. This is one of our moms. This is another one who's gone from homeless into an apartment. Not the greatest area for an apartment, but the Lord put her in one, and then he took her car away. So we're struggling trying to get her car worked on and get it back to running condition because she's working and she needs that car to get back and forth. But that's me and my grandbaby, and that's her with some of the furniture and the things that we're giving donations. We do have a shed. What is that, 30-foot shed that people give us stuff and put donations in. And then when we do these craft fairs and things, we put a donation box out because we're like, we need to shred the shed payment. We need to get rid of that payment. But it allows us to keep things like this, and when our mamas need, we're able to give it to them. That's her with her first Bible. These dog treats, yep. Look at the faces. This is us mastering our dog treat recipe. More painting. This little girl, I hope I come across it. She just graduated. She's a mama. She just graduated back in May and is going to college in the fall. And we got our fingers crossed. She's going for cosmetology. And if you do cosmetology right, it's a pretty good career to get into. This is the Easter hunt. Some more of our mamas and kiddos. Yes. And those smiles, we take it for granted. My husband and I, we go to Disney, we go to Pigeon Forge, we go to Florida, we experience. Some of these kids have done more in the last year and a half being in the program, year and a half, than they've done in all the years they've been on, there's just no money to go or do. And these little things, like Pam taking them all over to Cornbread Fest and getting to ride rides. The man that owned the carnival rides give us passes and things for the moms and the kids to go on. And, the smile on their face just tells you it's worth it. That's our 4th of July tree. Miss Pam does that. We keep our tree up We just switch holidays, and the kids make the ornaments. So that little girl's going to be a baker. Y'all going to be buying baked goods off her one day. She is smart, very good, very talented. You can't see real well, but she freehanded them leaves and some of the other things she's painted on just freehand. It comes out of her, and it's beautiful. She's very talented. That's a play. That was a Whitwell play we went to. This is our food stand. My husband and I have a business. We've just gotten a food truck, but we were letting Palms Up get the money from some of the festivals we went to. We would donate all the money to Palms Up to get us some startup money. Teasers. My heart. Yeah, the future of the world is in this room. That's the hands I was talking about. That's them saying the Pledge of Allegiance. One of them's got both hands crossed, That's the mama that has the tiny home. She works as much as she can work and takes care of her kids, minds her own business, does what she needs to do. She needs a hand up, and she's taking full advantage of the hand up and making it work and doing an amazing job. It paid off. Them wheelchairs, I'm telling you, if you get stuck, throw it on a wheelchair. It worked. Or dog treats, Another one. That's one of the containers they were making to put treats in. And we do have a cooking class. So on Tuesdays, we've got a calendar up in our kitchen, and all the mamas, Pam's going to make a recipe book out of it. They have to turn in a 15 to 20 minute maximum recipe with the ingredients, carb content, fat, calories. Moms don't have a lot of time to make supper, so what we do is want quick, fast recipes, and we pay for the ingredients. That's why we're always looking for a donation for food cards. We do buy the ingredients, but the mom fixes the recipe for us on Tuesday. Last night we had tilapia, fresh squash and zucchini, wild rice, and then Pam outdoes herself, some Jell-O with cookie sprinkles and a Teddy Graham and an umbrella. It's beautiful, the things she does and the talent. But they turn the recipe and we buy the ingredients, and they take turns cooking the meal so they get that practice. More cornbread. If you've never made cornbread, we need volunteers for next year. You make a lot of cornbread. A lot. This was the Special Olympics in Whitwell, and our volunteer, there's me, Miss Pam, and then Michelle. Her daughter, Lydia, passed away recently and was a big part of Special Olympics. She was in them every year. So we had we got to pack the lunches for them, but then they had a little ceremony honoring Lydia. So that was a real special day for us to be able to serve and do that. Spam. This is what we get to walk into. I'm not even sure I was accustomed to eating like that with the table all set and the pretties and always something special. She makes you feel like you're somebody. She makes the moms feel like they're worth something. You're worth a table that's set with some flowers on it, and the kids the same way. There's our nacho sign. We do sell nachos and lemonade a lot. There's our accountant, one of our volunteers. They were the cornbread. They were the cookers. He's the character. She was the cooker. He's a character. More cornbread. There's our painting. Cooking. We must have had squash that night. Our kitchen, what is it? Our kitchen, if you've ever been to a doctor's office, they've got the sink. Well, I need to tell them this. Lord, here's a God thing. We moved into Grandview, and we had, laptop? Mine. I don't know what we had. We had a few toys for the kids and some stuff. And we knew we needed a refrigerator. We knew we needed a table because we were going to do the cooking classes. And a microwave and a little pantry, a 2-door to put some food. So we were praying, Lord, we need these things. Well, we were in Hickson, And we stopped at Lowe's, and I went in, and there was this big, beautiful refrigerator, and it had this little itty-bitty dimple in the freezer door. So I went over and I got the man, and I knew I had a number in my head about $300. The refrigerator was $990 something, marked down to $600 and something, and I didn't want to spend a penny over $200 and something. Very thrifty with our money. So I come over and I said, hello, my name's Kathy Johnson. I'm from Palms Up. He said, I've heard of that. In Hickson? You heard of Palms Up in Hickson? We're only a little over a year old. And he said, well, my mother-in-law is from Crossroads. Small world. So I said, well, we've seen this refrigerator. He said, well, do you have a business card? I said, well, I'm out of cards, but I have a pamphlet in the truck. He said, well, go get me a pamphlet. So I come back in, and they were over in the appliance area by the register, and there's him and another woman at the register, and I'm trying to be nonchalant and subtle and what's going on over here. He turned around, and he gave me the receipt. He said, pull your truck around. He said, this is paid in full. Paid in full. He said, this is for me, but I have a friend who just had a stroke. Will you pray for him? Absolutely. We put him on every prayer list we could find. So we got a refrigerator. So I went to Home Depot next on Gun Barrel, and I walked in, and they had a nice long table. It's got 4 wheels on it and a crank. You can crank it up to about here, or you can crank it down and sit at it. And I said, it can be up here. Our moms can be cooking. We can pull it away from the wall. Everybody can gather around. When we're done, push it up against the wall, lock the wheels. It's just a table. So I went up to the man. Hello, my name's Kathy Johnson, Palms Up, blah, blah, blah. I said, how can you help me out? I need that table. He said, well, do you need it today or can you wait? And I said, well, if you give me a good deal, I'll wait. But I don't live in Chattanooga. I got to come back from Marion County. He said, well, if you wait till tomorrow, I'll give it to you. I said, I'll be here at 9 o'clock in the morning. Thank you very much. We're not done. I went back the next day, and I really wanted advice. I cook with cast iron. I have a microwave that I heat peas in and popcorn. I don't know anything other than the popcorn button and, 2-3 minutes to warm up the vegetables. And I said, well, can you help me out? I need to look at a microwave, and I don't know what to look for. Well, our microwave, it does all sorts. It's got a lock button on it. You can't just open it. You got to hit unlock, and then it opens. He said, how about $60? This big old microwave, $60. And then we had our open house, and we were showing people around, had the bus out there, showing people the bus, made some food and things. And one of the men, he's one of our volunteers, and he said, well, what do you need for a pantry? And I said, well, we just need something with, a couple doors this wide, because these rooms aren't that big, that we can put some groceries in, just enough to stock things that we're going to need on a weekly basis, sugar, flour, things that we use, some canned goods. He gave me $300. He said, go get you a shelf. So God provides. It's just every time we turn around, going forward, I'm always unsure. I guess you can relate to that, going, God, what do you want? Do you want this? Do you want that? But when we turn around and look back and see where his hand has been on it from day one and how he has provided and guided and blessed, it's just the most awesome thing. It's just amazing to watch him provide everything that we need in the manner that he does. But you can't use, what is it we can't use? Can't use the microwave and the heat plate at the same time. It pops the breaker. But it's okay. It's a good problem to have, because where we were, we couldn't do that. There's our new tent, Palms Up, praying, lifting mothers up. This is in Rainsville. We've got our display up there with our dog treats and selling chili cheese nachos. Right on, quit laughing, you two. She was at another festival, and she photoshopped in on this photo. And I didn't know that's not the one I didn't use. That's funny. That's my husband and my grandbaby. He's the hero behind it all. He's at VBS with the grandkids. We ditched him. We said, we got to go this way. You take the kids to VBS. But he's the one that, people behind the scenes always don't get a lot of recognition. He's the one where he hears, honey, hey, somebody's got a mattress. And he's like, yeah, I got to load it, right? I'm like, yeah, you do. Bedding, all dressers, nightstands. When we look in our shed, we know God's providing a home because we can see it. You can see the dressers, the couches, the chair. You can see the things that are being put there. And it's just, the donations have been amazing. One lady, moved into Marion County for 2 months. Beautiful, I don't know how long and wide fireplace, propane fireplace, with the bill and the direction and the instructions, $1,700, had never been plugged in or used. She said, I want to donate that to Palms Up. That's going to look good in our home. It's going to keep us warm, too. But so many things that, I mean, we can just look in this shed and see that he's preparing. I could talk all night about that little redhead. Whoo, that's our firecracker. They are little. They've grown. Yeah, they've grown a lot. More dog treats. Make me hungry. There's one of our mamas, what's one of the boys. The things Pam does with these kids is amazing. This is them singing a song. They're learning a song for us. There's our graduate. If you knew how that girl grew up and how she survived and wants to change, I'm not going to say she knows how, because there'll be things that she does that you just stand there going, no, 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 no. But pretty much that baby comes in with clothes on his back, shoes on his feet, and for being a young mama, has a backpack with diapers in it, which I can't say for a lot of people I know. They diaper in the backpack or on the floor. She's always got something for them. That's our memorial. More of our Valentines. Some more volunteers with the kiddos in the room. What a blessing if you can see some of the toys and things. And the room's not huge. You got a picture, you're in a doctor's office. So we're utilizing the rooms, but boy, are we not thrilled because they're twice the size of what they were. And I don't know how long. People are like, well, when do you expect this? I said, this is door 3. We started out by the Auto Bureau, then went down on Main Street in Jasper, and this is door number 3. I don't know how many doors it's going to take us to get to that forever home. God knows that. I don't. But we're on door 3. And we're just keeping a journal because it's going to be interesting to look back and say, hey, I remember. Some of these are older photos. Yeah, that one gets my heart. Oh, am I at the end? Am I done? I should or shouldn't. That's it? Well, that had to have been 57. And I'm sorry I jump around. I'm not a public speaker. I drive school bus. It's not my calling. That's what he's got me doing. And I pray every year, Lord, please, I want to make a little more money. I don't want to work with 50 kids screaming at me and beating on each other. But if it's your will, I will go back. And every year, he's not made me rich, so I have to go back. And I'm not looking forward to that. It's hot. But if you have any questions or anything, I'll think of a million things when I leave. I'm not a public speaker. I'm so passionate about this and our moms because we can see the growth. We know if we had them, like I said, if we had them in we have a woman that comes and does our Bible study, and we did the Proverbs 31 woman, and that was profound for so many of them. But Proverbs 3:16, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he'll direct thy path. And that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to be obedient, trying to help these mamas help themselves and make a difference in our county, because we have so many people, even we in county, you'll never help them. If you don't try, you're not going to. You're right. You're 100% right. And there's some that are unhelpable. They are. I had one, probably the last 3 that have applied. They send something in. I look at the website to see what they want. I'll send them an email. If I don't hear back from the email, I'll send a text message, giving them appointment times, options. I even ask what's convenient for you. Well, they don't come because they want something given to them. They want to meet you at the door. Give me what I need to get by, and I'll see you in 6 months or a year. And that's not Palms Up. We're not here for 6 months or a year. We're here for the long haul. We're here to change their life, but more importantly, the children. Because changing their life is going to change the way the children grow up and hopefully break that pattern to where they don't have to continue living in the cycle that they were. So I appreciate you giving me the time. I don't know if anybody has any questions or wants to know more. No, we have classes, right now we have them on Monday and Tuesday. We have office hours, usually Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, or by appointment. We have well, we've got several. We have a volunteer page on Facebook. So if you're interested or just want to be a prayer partner with us, I say apply, send a friend request, and you can be part of our volunteer page and see what we're doing. Palms Up Volunteers is what it's called. But our mamas and just a few of us, me, Stacy, Pam, Angela on there, and then our mamas are on a group on Facebook, and that's a 24/7 thing. You don't want to be a part of that. You hear about things you don't want to hear about. Some of our mamas tell you everything. Everything. You know if their bellies are hurting or so we're working on that, but that's the part of the program. That's the glue, because when they're not feeling good, they can come on there and vent. And then we've got Pam, who's a retired nurse. She's got the medical portion that goes in there. Stacy's got the children and the teachers. She's a school teacher. I don't know, you get my unsolicited advice, I guess, but that text thread is where they all get through. They tell each other, diaper rash, we'll do this for that, or, he's throwing up and I don't this. And they get in there, and that's where their community comes from. That's the glue. They rely on each other and, can trust each other. But we do have the volunteer page for, and Monday we do the dog treats. Monday's when we get together and we decorate, we bake them, we decorate them, decorate some of the containers that they go in. Next Thursday, we're just going to have Play Mount, we're going to call it game night. And it's just so everybody can take a deep breath. We've been at it all summer long, and just come together and have probably pizza. We'll have junk food that night, pizza sandwiches, and just play board games, talk. Everybody gets, a mama's thing. Everybody gets to talk about their labor and delivery. We don't have guys, so it's all good. We all get to, talk about what's on your mind. And that helps them with bonding. Tuesdays is our classes. We do a Bible study. We do, like I said, we have the cooking class. One of the mamas cooks, and then we've got topics from A to Z that we choose different things. And I didn't have no pictures of that. We did a fun in the park day. We went kayaking and made hamburgers out at, I call it Nickajack Lake. There's a little roped off ferry where the kids can swim. Some of the moms, Johnny Cash Cave, yeah, some of the moms had never been in a kayak, so that was a lot of fun. Yes, ma'am, we do. Jerry has helped us. We took the moms on a field trip down there. The one that did the tiny home that I was telling you is homeless. She does everything. She helps the moms work on their cars. She does certain type of welding on the side for extra money. She's very well-rounded. She's 30-something, too. So she has had a lot of experience in different areas. But we took them down there to try to get them excited about something, and hers is the welding program. She's interested in doing that, and more so than what she's doing now. And then that's for the cosmetology, the one for cosmetology. The other one wants to be a baker that I was talking about, and I would love to get her in. She works actually here in Dunlap, but I would love to get her into a bakery somewhere where somebody would take her under their wing, because the girl is phenomenal. She just off the top of her head and freehand can paint and decorate and knows that things I don't. Well, you can't put that kind of flour with this kind of water. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Called for a cup of coffee, stir it up. But she knows those things, even at her young age. Very talented. So I'd like to see her get in somewhere. It'd be nice if there was a bakery or somewhere where, and we try teaching them all, each one of them. There are things you can do from your home or take your kids with you. That Walmart has the grocery pickup. We're talking about doing the little keychain things, the dog treat biscuit. You might not be able to leave your home for employment, but there's things you can do in your home and sell. I mean, who in here wouldn't want a casserole? Give $10 for a casserole, and you don't have to cook Sunday afternoon. Here it is delivered. Throw it in the oven, you're done. I said there's so many ways that you can earn money without ever leaving your home. And the internet is amazing. If you know how to work the internet, you've got the entire world at your fingertips, just not the people that you meet face to face. You know, you can take pictures of things, and the World Wide Web is everywhere. All I have till I leave, I know, till the ride home. We have a steady 6 when we get them all in the building at the same time. Yes. We do not have room for many more where we're at. 12 kids? Is that where we're at? 12. And it's hard. In the one picture, I don't know, can I go backwards on this? Guess not. One picture, you could see the tables. We have 2 little tables that will rise up and down, and the chairs for the kids will. We had to put 2 of them in order to get all the kids when we feed them. Well, once you're done feeding them, you don't have nowhere to go with them tables. So if you picture an exam room, pretty much, I guess that would be the doctor's room. The one you're in would be where the doctor's desk would be and stuff like that. So that'd be a little bit bigger. But to put the things in there that she needs and have them kids in there, it's still small for what we need. It's adequate for now. It's a whole lot better than what we had. But we could definitely use something bigger in the future, that's for sure. I can't think of anything else. Oh, are we back? Aren't they adorable? They are the cutest kids. And that little one, he's a player. 2 years, I got 1 hug and a kiss from him, but he won't leave Miss Pam's side. He'll love on her all day long. 1 hug and 1 kiss. 2 years. Yeah. I'm not gonna be able to find a good picture. Well, there's a good picture at the top. That's about half the room. Then the other side's where the handprints are. So that's about the kind of room that they have to do, you know, the crafts and the things they're doing. So, but listen, we're appreciative of it. It's a blessing. It is not costing us a dime. We do have to pay for our internet. That's kind of a downfall, so we can Zoom and do things like that. But we were recently blessed with a beautiful Brothers colored printer, black and white in color. So now we can do our flyers instead of having to go to the library or things. That's been a huge blessing, that printer. So, well, I appreciate it. I don't know, you've got the brochure. Certainly pray for us, for God's guidance, because that's what is imperative, that we're in His will doing what He wants to help these moms become what they need to become. But thank you so much.